Hi, in this video I have a very old Miele dishwasher. It is tripping the electricity. What is happening is when it gets to the main wash, the element is switching on, and at that point it is tripping the earth leakage or the residual circuit breaker. So obviously there's some leakage current, some current is leaking, and I'm assuming it's on the element. Right, here is the element. And just doing a visual inspection, I can see it's very worn, burned on the sides here, and there at the back it's even swollen. Now what I need to do is I need to measure if this element is still functional. I need to measure the resistance on the inside, and I also need to see if there's an insulation breakdown. If there's an insulation breakdown, we might find that current is leaking and it is going to the earth, because the chassis here is earth. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open the unit and then I'm going to unplug it. Right, it's unplugged. There's no water in here. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip it on its side to get to the bottom of it so that I can remove the little plate and then unplug the element. Right, on the underside, on this plate here, there are 4 screws. So I just need to remove all 4. Now this plate must come out. I don't slide it there, I don't slide it there. I literally bring it out towards me. And the reason I do that is because of these threaded rods. So that is why I pulled it out towards me. Now the element is actually towards the bottom. These are the wires that feed the element. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug them and then quickly do an insulation test again. Right, so these are the element wires. I've removed the black one already. You can see there's an earth wire and then the positive and negative, the live and the neutral. Right, so the wires have now been removed. Right, now that I've unplugged the live and the neutral, I've put my probes there, my leads. There's my leads to measure the resistance between those terminals. Remember, it is an element, so I should be getting a low resistance. Right, now what I'm doing is I'm measuring the resistance of that element, and there it's 18.3 ohms. The next step is to measure the insulation. So I put my one lead on the element, the outer side of the element, and then I take my other lead and I connect it to any one of the terminals. And then I take a resistance measurement. Unfortunately, it didn't show in the video, but I was getting in the order of 60 kilo ohms. Therefore, I knew I had to remove the element. Later on in the video, I will show you clearly how I do this measurement, when I have the element in hand. Now, the terminal where the earth was wired to is here, but unfortunately, I cannot get it off. So I've had to cut through it. And now that I've cut through it, I can actually wiggle it. So you can see that I've loosened this. By cutting it. I've cut it on the side with the little hacksaw. I used a hacksaw without damaging the element, and now I'll be able to pull it through. So it means I need to unscrew that screw and now pull the element through the other side. Might be helpful to loosen this pipe here. There's just a spring clip which needs to be loosened. Right, here's the element. Just inspecting it, one can see that there is some damage here on the side. There's some swelling and some deformation. It's not supposed to have that kink, and even if I feel it, it's quite rough. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to first measure the resistance between the terminals. This is the element, the nichrome wire or whatever wire is inside here that gets hot, and you can see there it's less than 19 ohms, telling me that that is fine. Now what I'm going to do is leave the one on there and put this on the casing, and there we can see it's just less than a mega ohm there. It's about 780 kilo ohms. A little bit of an insulation breakdown there. If we look at that value, you can see that 80 kilo ohms, it's actually less. If I squeeze this a bit and shift it around, there, look at that. 46 kilo ohms, 50 kilo ohms. So there's definitely an insulation breakdown somewhere over here. It even goes down to 30 kilo ohms. Right, and just measuring over here, I mean, you could take some sandpaper and just sand it a little bit, but look at that. Yeah, so 60 kilo ohms, this is definitely an insulation breakdown. There might be some moisture in here. So this element is now faulty, and this element is tripping the earth leakage. And over here, I have an earth leakage. And what I'm bringing to your attention is we've got a live and a neutral. and you can see that the alive is here and the neutral is here. And when there's a difference between the current going in and the current going out, a difference of more than 30 milliamps, this drops. And why that drops is it means there's an earth fault, which means current is going somewhere else. In the case of an element like this, yes, the alive would be there, the neutral would be there, but this is earth. And because this is earth and this has only got a 45 or 50 kilo ohm insulation, and obviously when it gets hotter it's probably even less, current is leaking to the earth via the earth wire, therefore initiating a earth leakage trip. Right, so here is the old element, and I went and got one remade. If you are finding it difficult to locate an element, you can get an element made at an element factory. For example, this element was matched. This is not the Miele original element. I could not locate one. So this is an element that has been made to the same dimensions and electrical characteristics as the one that was originally here. Now, something I bring to your attention is the original element had a crimp around here for the earth wire. Remember that all of this is earth, while the current to heat up the element is connected over here. These do not touch the outer casing. The outer casing is completely isolated from these resistive wires. So this is what is earth. And yes, it is earth by touching the chassis of the dishwasher, but we still need a dedicated earth wire to be attached here. Now, the original one had a crimp. I don't have a crimp at this stage, so all I'm going to do is use a clamp and clamp the earth wire onto the surface of the element. Right, so now I'm going to install this replacement part into the dishwasher. I've just hooked it into those little places there, and then I can seat this here, and then there is a part here that has to be bent. So I've just bent that closed like that, and as you can see, there's the replacement element in place, and all I need to do now is wire it at the back and insert the screw to hold it in place. Right, I've inserted the bolt there, but I just need to put the nut on the other side. Now I'm going to flip the dishwasher upside down, connect the wires, and then turn on the dishwasher. Right, so there are the electrodes. I'm just putting on this bracket. The screw threads through here and holds the element in place. All I need to do is screw it from the inside while holding this so that it can fasten tightly. Right, so I'm pressing that cover in there. You might need two people to do this. My other hand is on the inside of the dishwasher, tightening that screw. Recall that the old one had this crimp around the steel of the element, and this was plugged into here. But now on this one I'm going to use this expandable clamp, and I'm just going to put that inside there and tighten it onto the element so that we get the earth wire onto the element. Right, so the earth lead is attached there, and now all I need to do is put the neutral and live to the resistive terminals over here. Now, because there's been some fiddling there, I'm just tightening these clamps here on the side. Right, so the element is now reconnected. I've tightened that threaded washer to hold the element in place and maintain the water seal. And now I'm just going to return this pipe. Now, I don't want these wires to get caught in this rotor here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a cable tie just to fasten them out of the way. If you have a blower, this is a good time to just do a quick clean out. This dishwasher shows quite a lot of residue of rats or mice that have been burrowing here. So it's a good idea to inspect all the wires and pipes at this point just to make sure that the rodents didn't eat through any of the pipes and wires. Right, then I just replaced this. This is a little float, and what it does is there's a limit switch which it engages with if it's lifted up. And what happens is maybe a pipe bursts or the dishwasher goes faulty and water pulls up at the bottom. What it'll do is it'll lift up this float, and that'll automatically switch off the water coming into the dishwasher. Just return the bottom spinner. Right, so the dishwasher has done a full cycle, and just to show you the heating element is working, you can see, look at all that steam Right, so this dishwasher is now working. It's no longer tripping the earth leakage. And now just after a good cleanup, bringing the dishwasher back to life, and now the dishwasher can now perform its duty again now that it has been cleaned up and repaired. Thanks for watching, and cheers.